My name is Michael Drobot. I'm one of the participants of FitLit, the Chicago Literary Hall of Fame's pilot program this past summer. And the book that I chose for my Chicago classic is The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. I picked this book because Don Evans gave it to me after finishing the summer session of FitLit. He thought I would be interested, and I was, so I chose it for this. Just a brief summary of The Time Traveler's Wife is the book follows Henry, a man who spontaneously time travels and has no say when he disappears, at which time in the past he goes, at which location in the past he goes, or when he comes back to the present. Generally, the places he arrives in are during, just before, or just after his lifetime, so he never ends up in somewhere like ancient Greece. His time traveling often leads him into a meadow where he meets Claire, a girl who follows the normal progression of time, and who he will eventually marry, hence the title. She has many interactions with different versions of Henry from different places and time, starting from when she's 6 up until when she's 18. Henry can be 35, 41, 32, and it's all kind of intermixed. And she meets the Henry that's not on a time traveling excursion, so present day Henry, when she's 20. And the book follows Claire's timeline, and it takes place in and around Chicago. So they live in Chicago, work in Chicago, and they both went to college at the Art Institute and at the University of Chicago. I liked it especially because of the sci-fi elements of the plot and how bits of what Henry does with Claire in her childhood show up later in the book when they're together in real time, even though sometimes Henry hasn't actually experienced them yet because he didn't go on that particular trip at that point in his present day life. So I'll read a little bit from The Time Traveler's Wife. This is on page 75 in the chapter called Lessons in Survival. No, I say, why should free will be limited to right and wrong? I mean, you just decided, of your own free will, to take off your shoes. It doesn't matter, nobody cares if you wear shoes or not, and it's not sinful or virtuous, and it doesn't affect the future, but you just exercised your free will. Claire shrugs. But sometimes you tell me something, and I feel like the future is already there, you know? Like my future's already happened in the past, and I can't do anything about it. That's called determinism, I tell her. It haunts my dreams. Claire is intrigued. Why? Well, if you are feeling boxed in by the idea that your future is unalterable, imagine how I feel. I'm constantly running up against the fact that I can't change anything, even though I am right here, watching it. But Henry, you do change things. I mean, you wrote down that stuff that I'm supposed to give you in 1991 about the baby with Down syndrome. And the list. If I didn't have the list, I would never know when to come and meet you. You change things all the time. I smile. I can only do things that work toward what has already happened. I can't, for example, undo the fact that you just took off your shoes. Claire laughs. Why would you care if I take them off or not? I don't. But even if I did, it's now an unalterable part of the universe, and I can't do a thing about it. I help myself to a donut. It's a Bismarck, my favorite. The frosting is melting in the sun a little, and it sticks to my fingers. Claire finishes her donut, rolls up the cuffs of her jeans, and sits cross-legged. She scratches her neck and looks at me with annoyance. Now you're making me self-conscious. I feel like every time I blow my nose, it's a historic event. Well, it is. She rolls her eyes. What's the opposite of determinism? Chaos. Oh, I don't think I like that. Do you like that? I take a big bite out of the Bismarck and consider chaos. Well, I do and I don't. Chaos is more freedom, in fact, total freedom, but no meaning. I want to be free to act, and I also want my actions to mean something. But Henry, you're forgetting about God. Why can't there be a God who makes it mean something? Clara frowns earnestly and looks away across the meadow as she speaks. I pop the last of the Bismarck into my mouth and chew slowly to gain time. Whenever Claire mentions God, my palms start to sweat and I have the urge to hide or run or vanish. I don't know, Claire. I mean, to me things seem too random and meaningless for there to be a God. Claire clasps her hands around her knees. But you just said before that everything seems like it's all planned out beforehand. Humph, I say. I grab Claire's ankles, pull her feet onto my lap, and hold on. Claire laughs and leans back on her elbows. Claire's feet are cold in my hands. They are very pink and very clean. Okay, I say. Let's see. The choices we're working with here are a black universe where past, present, and future all coexist simultaneously and everything has already happened. Chaos, where everything can happen and nothing can be predicted because we don't know all the variables. And a Christian universe in which God made everything and it's all here for a purpose, but we have free will anyway, right? Claire wiggles her toes at me. I guess. And what do you vote for? Claire is silent. Her pragmatism and her romantic feelings about Jesus and Mary are, at 13, almost equally balanced. A year ago, she would have said God without hesitation. In 10 years, she will vote for determinism. And 10 years after that, Claire will believe that the universe is arbitrary, that if God exists, he does not hear our prayers, that cause and effect are inescapable and brutal, but meaningless. And after that, I don't know. But right now, Claire sits on the threshold of adolescence with her faith in one hand and her growing skepticism in the other. And all she can do is try to juggle them, or squeeze them together until they fuse. She shakes her head. I don't know. That was a little excerpt from The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger, and that was my Chicago classic. A very big thank you to Don Evans for giving me this opportunity.